Welcome to this episode of the Light Within podcast. Today, I want to address something profound, something that has the potential to change your life and spiritual journey entirely. There have been times when I felt an incredible sense of connectedness with everyone else. My worries would disappear and a sense of calm would prevail in all aspects of life, as if everything was on autopilot. On several occasions, I have experienced this bliss, a state where it felt as if the whole world was mine, and I was sailing in an ocean of acceptance and grace. This state would last for some time till I would do something that will pull me out of this bliss, and then I would ask myself, what was it that I had just experienced? How can I go back? And what did I do to get there? It sure wasn't something that happened by accident. I was doing something right subconsciously that led me to that state. And when I paid closer attention, I realized that I was operating from an empty space. This empty space is called Shunya. The concept of Shunya or emptiness is not new to Hindu and Buddhist traditions. Shunya refers to philosophical and metaphysical idea of emptiness or void. The term is derived from Sanskrit word shunya, which translates to empty or void. Right now, if you're listening to me and you're someone who's on multiple paths struggling to commit to one, or still exploring the right direction for your spiritual growth, this episode is for you. Trust me when I say that if you embrace this concept, the path will unfold before you effortlessly. In today's episode, we are going to dive deeper into this idea of Shunya. I'll share my experiences and insights into how the state of being can become the foundation of your spiritual practice. This concept is such a deep one and incredibly challenging to put into words, but I will do my best to simplify it for you. So let's explore together how achieving the state of Shunya can help you connect deeply with yourself and the universe, making your spiritual journey smoother and more fulfilling. In Hinduism, Shunya represents a state of nothingness that is full of potential, a primordial condition before creation. It's associated with the idea of transcending dualities, where the individual self, which is called the Atman, merges with the universal consciousness, which is called the Brahman. In Hinduism, Shunya is seen as a state of nothingness that holds infinite potential. So to simplify, imagine it as a blank canvas before an artist starts painting. It's empty, but it can become anything. This state is considered to exist before the universe was created. Shunya is about moving beyond dualities like good or bad, joy and sorrow. It's like seeing beyond black and white to understand the whole picture. In our belief, every individual has a soul. The ultimate goal is for this soul to merge with the universal consciousness. Shunya is the state where this merging happens, where you realize that you and the universe are one. And if you connect with what I said at the beginning of this podcast, that when I was operating from this blissful state, everything was working on an autopilot. Naturally, because it is a state where the merging happens. Soul merges into universal consciousness. And when that happens, things happen effortlessly. Shunya is more than just emptiness. It is a state of infinite possibilities and potential, as I mentioned earlier. It's where you go beyond everyday opposites and realize your true nature. It's like understanding that you are not separate from the world, but deeply connected to everything in it. In simpler terms, Shunya is about realizing that the space where nothing seems to be happening is actually where everything begins, and it is possible. It's about understanding that we are all part of something much bigger than ourselves. Our thoughts are incredibly powerful in shaping our reality. We all know that. In our culture, the mind and its thoughts are basis for karma, affecting our future. Positive thoughts leads to positive actions and outcomes, while negative thoughts result in suffering. Thoughts are the root cause of all actions and basis of karma. And that's why any text that you read places foremost importance to controlling and purifying your thoughts through meditation, through mantra chanting, or just by self-discipline. As I mentioned earlier, these concepts are extremely hard to put into words. It is only when one experiences that one realizes the meaning. The only reason I'm able to speak about this is because I have experienced those state of mind where, there was absolutely nothing and yet there was everything. I existed while my existence was not limited to myself alone. I felt that every being, everything on the planet was connected, and I could experience everything within me. It's very hard to put into words. I'm trying my best to simplify this for you. And you might ask that how your being at Shunya will help those around you. It is because we all are connected with each other, whether we know it or not. Let me help explain this through a theory which I heard long time ago, but it just amazes me as to how one thing can lead to another and have a profound effect on humanity as a whole. You might have heard of the butterfly effect. They say that a small butterfly fluttering its wing in one part of the world can lead to a typhoon in another part of the world. It rests on the notion that the world is deeply interconnected, such that one small occurrence can influence a much larger and much complex system. The effect evokes the idea that a small butterfly flapping its wing could hypothetically cause a typhoon. Now, if you look at theoretically, it's just, it seems impossible. But understand through this example that is available in public domain. So how one action can lead to create to situations which can change the world. From the time that I have understood this concept, I have found examples in my own life. To explain further, I would like to share an example which is, as I said, is available in the public domain. So the story goes like this, and this is a real story. In 1950s, Charlie Wilson's pet dies in Texas after city councilor Charles Hazett feeds it food mixed with glass. Wilson gets his revenge by persuading the public to vote against Hazard in the next city election. Remember that Hazard was the city councillor. Afterwards, he decides to start a political career himself. Wilson, who leads the public to vote against Hazard, starts a political career for himself, becoming a senator at the young age of 27. Many years later, Wilson lobbied to support the rebels in Afghanistan. Due to his support, the US filtered funds through Pakistan, training troops who later defeated the Soviets. Fast forward the 2000s, after 2001, radical faction of those rebels attacked the United States, killing thousands of Americans. Charles Hazett's killing of Charlie Wilson's pet started a butterfly effect that sent shockwaves around the world. Now, you can find fault with this theory to say that maybe Wilson always had an aspiration to become a politician and there is no connection of Charles Hazett feeding his pet with glass, Wilson taking a decision to become a politician. Yes, there are permutation, combinations, probabilities available, but it is said that it is when Wilson consciously worked with the public to vote against Hazard is when he really thought about becoming a senator himself. This is one of the most profound examples of how one thought can impact the world. Obviously, there are positive examples too. We know in our own life how our ancestors took a call many years back and it changed the destinies of the next generations. You can see when a family immigrates to another country and the following generations, for the life for them either becomes good or becomes worse depending on the decision which was taken by their ancestors. We think that our thoughts are limited to us and that we are not responsible for anything happening happening to others. That is not true. We are 100% responsible for everything that is happening around us. The mode of reaction is absolutely dangerous. It can create situations which cannot be undone by you or even in extreme examples by future generations. Shunya is therefore the way to be. Now let's explore how you and I can practice being at Shunya in our daily life. So the first way to practice Shunya in your daily life is through meditation. No matter which path you follow when it comes to meditation, meditation is one of the best ways to keep a check on your thoughts. And it's not to say that you have to control your thoughts. When you sincerely practice meditation, thoughts reduce by themselves. It's then not a conscious effort. And hence, when the mind is not producing as many thoughts, when you have a subconscious control over what you're thinking, you're more aware of what you're thinking, naturally your actions will be in harmony with the universe. You will not do anything which is not of your core nature. If you have noticed people in trains or buses silently chanting mantras, in India this is a common sight. This may not be true with the new generation, but it is still prevalent in some generations. Practicing japa or chant is an excellent way of staying at Shunya. If you do the chanting with intent and focus, your mind will stop wandering and lead you to a state of inner stillness. Another way to practice Shunya in your daily life is to practice detachment. This seems like an impossible thing to attain, but the truth is that you and I would not take anything with us when we leave the world. Practicing non-attachment is one of the core jobs that we have if we want to live a more peaceful world. When we become identified with our personas, with our possessions and outcomes, we start acting from ego, which is essentially a place of fear, creating a barrier between us and other people. On the other hand, a simplistic life rooted in love for God can inspire and bring in so much more peace and love in our lives and society as a whole. So find out ways to reduce the sensory overload. Spend time in nature, which reflects the principle of Shunya, offering a sense of peace and interconnectedness. You can continue to do your worldly duties. In fact, I'm saying that we all need to continue to do our worldly duties. There is no way you and I can leave those aside. However, what I'm insisting upon is that you do it with conscious awareness that nothing belongs to you and you belong to no one. And this is not a theory. It's just when you start reading texts which talk about these things in detail, it becomes a norm for you. However, if you're listening to something like this the first time, obviously you're going to feel like, oh, who talks like that? Or, why are we talking about such serious things in life and all of that? I'm telling you that at the beginning, this seems like a little heavy, or it seems like a little far-fetched, or it seems like a little theoretical, but this is absolutely the way to be. You will realize it now, or you will realize it later. It's just a matter of time, but you will eventually learn that these things are true. Meditation, letting go, detachment, compassion, kindness, acceptance, alignment. These are the things which will help you lead a life with harmony and peace. All of the other things that you're doing, or while you're performing your worldly duties, will only take you away from your own self. It is just the supreme consciousness, and in the end, we will all merge in it. I've just given you 2 ways to be able to be at Shunya. There are a lot of other practices also, but I think when we talk about a lot of things, we end up doing nothing. So focus on only 2 aspects. One is that you're meditating every day, and meditation means what? You can find a lot of YouTube videos where there are guided meditations. Listen to your soul. hear it where it is leading you, and practice silence in your mind. That's it. So when you're sitting in the meditation, you don't need anybody to guide you. You just need to close your eyes, focus on your breathing, and keep thanking God for everything. That is enough for meditation. Trust me, you just find that connection with the Almighty and focus your energy upwards. Try and bring your energy upward, and that is enough. Non-attachment in terms of your practical daily duties is also enough to be able to get you to the state of shunya, because when you are attached to a lot of things, to material possessions, etc., you will not be at peace. And if you're not at peace, you're not at shunya. You'll not be able to connect with that silence where there are infinite possibilities. So by incorporating these practices in your daily life, you can move towards experiencing shunya, the state of emptiness and interconnectedness, which leads to greater peace, clarity, and spiritual growth. Embracing shunya isn't just a personal journey, but a transformative practice for collective consciousness. So you're not doing it only for yourself. When you consciously practice these things, you are raising the collective consciousness. The state of shunya, which various religions across the world have taught us, are our access to divinity. And needless to say that if we operate from this state, there's so much of harmony that we can create around us. Now I would like to expand your lens and understand your role is beyond what you have been trained to see. Your role is not limited as a parent, son, daughter, husband, wife, brother, sister, employee, entrepreneur, employer, etc., etc. Your role as a human is to create harmony, and if you consciously practice being in the state of shunya, you will create miracles for yourself and others around you beyond your wildest imagination. Trust me. Whether you're someone preparing for exams, entrances, rooting for a job, relocating to another country, dreaming for a perfect relationship, etc., delete everything that has been playing in your memory and come to shunya. Your goal will become a reality before you know. By cultivating emptiness within ourselves, we free ourselves from ego, attachments, and divisive thoughts. We start to radiate positivity, harmony, and compassion. Shunya serves as a reminder of our interconnectedness and profound impact. We are contributing to raising the consciousness of the world if we are taking one step in the direction of being in the void and operating from an empty space. So offload everything and practice shunya. This is all that I have in this episode. I look forward to your views and comments. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you. May your soul be illuminated with the light within. I will see you in the next episode of The Light Within.